All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Kent Davis checking in from El Cangrejo, Panama, the home office. You guys are doing great. Today is April 17th, and we've been doing this once a week for folks that are both living outside of Panama, of course, folks that are here in Panama. As always, really appreciate any questions and insight you have. Share comments. It's always interesting to hear where folks are. If you're watching this as it's happening, we also share these on our news feed after we do them. So yeah, I'm Davis. I'm the managing director of Panama, the managing director of Panama Equity. I've been here for 13 years. So and this is all I've been doing for the last 12 and a half years. So today I'd like to answer some questions that I've gotten over the last week, and I'd also like to share some news because there's actually some really good news that came out of Panama. There's nothing like starting the day with positive headlines because so much negative right now, and of course we really don't know how things are going to play out. All we know is what's going on right now. So getting into the subject a little bit, sharing some news that I read and have been researching this past week about Panama. Law 51. Law 51 was passed in 2008. Imagine, 12 years ago. But this week it got modified. And Law 51 deals with electronic signatures. Yay! Now, the government is just now rolling out. They're training notaries and they're certifying lawyers. Now, details are still a little bit sketchy, but I attended a webinar a couple days ago with ACOBIR, which is the Association of Realtors, one of them here in Panama, and one of their guests was a member of the public registry. He was commenting that, yeah, electronic signatures are already approved at the public registry if you get your electronic signature certified. So the process there, but then you got to work backwards in the sales process because there are other things that need to get done, in this case, electronically when access is limited, including the pasisalvos, which are standing certificates from EDON and government, and in the case of condos, association fees. You know, as a company this week on our sales meeting, that's the best reason to have a sales meeting is because we've got a lot of experts in the room. Everyone's been sharing their experiences on using the online systems to pull down pasisalvos, to liaise with the notaries, to do video signing and electronic signatures. So this is all very new, this week. So yeah, it's a big deal. It's going to be great news for Panama. So stay tuned as we get more updates because thank God every single one, almost every one of my team has at least one deal in the pipeline, just waiting. Buyer and seller ready to go, just waiting for that process. So as Panama improves their digitalization policies, I think things are going to streamline. And man, I mean, it's great for procrastination, right? Like, good job, government, for bringing this initiative back to the forefront. I mean, it's like the best inventions come during wartime, right? Or at least in this case, the best projects get reinitiated. So yeah, that's going to be really good news for Panama, both during the pandemic and after. One of the biggest bottlenecks was always the process between the good standing certificates and the public registry. Yeah, if we can see that streamlined, it'll leave a better taste in people's mouth. So more good news. If you're just now joining us, we're going to be doing this every week. We've been doing this for about a month now, where I'm a talk in front of my computer. I love questions. You know, I'm not one to talk in paragraphs if I can help it. So anything that you can fire over in terms of questions, but I do have some talking points just to fill you guys in. Moodys, Moodys along with S&P, and I think there's a third, Fitch, ratings agency out there. These are the guys that test the health of the government and our ability to, for example, repay bonds, take on new debt. And they've got access to information, obviously, as an agency that nobody else has access to. And good old Moody's this week, amidst all of the uncertainty and already sort of, challenges we're facing. In other words, it's not a report from 3 weeks ago or a month ago before this all started. This is a report from right now. From 2 days ago, Moody published their report and their rate on Panama, which I believe was, I think it's like BAA1. I put it in a Facebook this morning, but at the end of the day, it's very stable, still investment grade. It's not like play, but it's definitely in the range of investment grade. We've got a long way to go to get below investment grade. So that's really good news for Panama in terms of our ability to both take on new debt and generate investor confidence. Moody's is very recognized, and within that report was also some great news. Now, predictions a year from now, it's still anyone's, but hey, Moody's, that's their business. They predicted that Panama is going to have the highest per capita income in all of Latin America in 2021. I'll take that news and spread it. Let's see what happens. I mean, in a country that's got a very small population, I think by the time we do our census, which was supposed to be in a month or two, they're looking at around 4.5 million people living in Panama. At the end of the day, and this is something that we've talked about in earlier Facebook Live sessions, is that small populations, especially ones with a small executive and an aligned Congress and very little partisan nonsense, small countries like Panama have been able to be very proactive and execute policies, both social policies to help out the most at-risk populations, as well as broad economic policies that will help small businesses recover, small businesses deal with stoppages, and basically, and also healthcare priorities like activating private industry in the form of hotels to create beds. So yeah, Moody's like that. Moody's thought that we were doing a good enough job such that Panama may end up being, according to them, the highest per capita in terms of income of any country in Latin America next year. Bring it on. Along the same lines, economic news coming out this week. Trade zone, a free trade agreement with Korea is so close. I believe it's on the second reading. Can't see a whole lot of opposition to that. That's open up the way for exports to a new market of about 50 million hungry people who will be able to purchase our, pineapple, shrimp exports, mango exports, melon exports. I don't think it was actually a big export. Melon exports. The principal exports, the principal agro exports of Panama. Korea is going to be a great new consumer. So bring that free trade agreement. I wouldn't be surprised if that got passed next week. Obviously, that activates a very critical sector and one that's been getting a lot of attention from the current administration, which is agriculture. And another nice piece of news, I also shared this on my personal feed this morning on Facebook, is internet bandwidth. Panama is the only country, again, in Latin America, go Panama, that's opened up the internet bandwidth spectrum by 120 megahertz or hertz. I'm totally speaking out of I'm just, reading a headline at this point. But basically what Panama did is made the internet a little bit bigger and from a relevant source. It was either Capital Financiero or the equivalent of our Wall Street Journal here, in the last 2 days announced that private carriers, we've got Digicel, Claro, MásMóvil. I think those are the carriers now in Panama. Gave them, basically everybody's going to have faster internet in the next 90 days thanks to the government. Whatever they've switched, they've flipped. Good job on them. So yeah, and those are 4 news bits on Panama that is great news. I had a question this morning from a friend who's in the industry that asked about pre-construction. He's actually a developer, and he said, man, do you think we're going to be seeing, he's an architect, do you think that we're going to be seeing a lot of cancellations on pre-construction? And I needed some time to think about that. And of course, the nice thing about pre-construction is you can put down money now, like a small amount, and you might not have to pay the balance for another 2 or 3 years. So I think that today, in today's market, if things stop, i.e. like we get back to work on Monday, which obviously isn't likely to happen, but if we were to get back on Monday, pre-construction contracts are such that people don't have to put a whole lot of money down during what could be, in his case, a 3-year project. So all of our contracts on that particular development, which is the Murray project, fantastic people, Punta Pacifica, high end, right next to Trump and Grand Tower. Really, I mean, we've sold it and we stand behind it. They're due to start construction like as soon as this is done. Pretty much, they're really like just waiting to flip the switch. So most of our contracts read 10% down. So that's anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 down. And most of our buyers, and a lot of buyers pre-construction, were planning on having put that money down anyway. So yeah, some of them may have used it for other purposes, but developers are also, I think, in the coming months, going to be very flexible for people who are open to still move forward. We've been getting inquiries. I mean, this week, I'm with buyers from Germany, continue to deal with buyers from Germany. There's back and forth. Hey, send me a price list. Buyers from the States, folks that have been looking at Panama for a while, not necessarily people that are going to Panama for their first time, because, I read maybe today looks like Copa May 15th is going to start. But that's all rumors. We don't know that yet, but it's interesting to read. Point being is that folks that already know Panama are going to be still interested, depending on the situation, of course. But yeah, so I think that's those are my thoughts. And thank you guys for checking in. Fun. We got folks from Petite, Florida. I know Mark, great realtor out of Arizona. Thank you guys all for joining us. So one of the core topics I want to cover today, and hopefully we've got some of our sellers on the line, is a few projects to do. And I'll go through these quickly, and we'll probably put an article about it. But everybody's sitting at home wondering what the heck they're going to do. Obviously, if you're in Panama and you've got your property listed with Panama Equity, it's getting pushed, but it's not getting shown, because today we just cannot show properties right now due to movement restrictions here. So you're sitting around, you're thinking, oh my God, I got to sell my place. What can you do? Well, the easiest thing to do, I've got a list, and this is as a result of my awesome sales team and our brainstorm during our sales meeting this week. Panama Equity, we've got a total of 15 people on the company, and we've got coverage in places like, I know Ted and Jonathan are checking in. We've got coverage at Beach, Coronado, Buenaventura, up in the mountains, Altos de Maria el Valle, and of course in the city. So anyway, painting. Do not paint your house bright yellow. Do not paint your house pink. What you want is neutral. A quick search online, Airbnb, for example, puts out some great guidance on homely colors. This year, the hot 2020 colors are, versions of blue. I'm not going to give you specific names because you can just check on your own. But the idea and the take on painting is just make it neutral, but clean up. I mean, do things, for example, zócalos, which are your running boards. Clean those up. So check the colors that are hot, neutral, welcoming, open. Don't go with your taste because you're moving. We're going to sell these for you. Go with something that somebody's not going to say, oh God, well, there's $1,000 I'm going to have to paint. Because at the end of the day, our job is to sell it as quickly as possible for as high a price as possible. And when you get somebody walking in your door, you want to give them as few reasons to say, oh, well, there's another thing I have to do. There's another thing, because that's going to come up in negotiation. If a negotiation even comes up, the idea is that they come in and say, wow, emotionally they're into it, thinking there's not a whole lot of work to do. So what else can you do? Deep cleaning, guys. Get out your gloves, clean the top of the fans because they get a little gunky. I'm looking at my fan now, and yeah, weekend project. It's not too bad, but it can be done. Running boards, cabinets, inside and out, guys. Take out all the spices, redo the arrangement of the plates and stuff. If you got cheap cabinets, they start blowing. Spread them out. Keep them from blowing. Of course, these are little details, but hey, turn off the Tiger King, put down your book, and if you really want to sell, do that. Clean off your appliances. Barkeeper's Friend is a little expensive in Panama, but it does wonders for dust. Declutter. Get rid of your knickknacks. Again, you're moving, so make the place as neutral as possible without going overboard. You don't want your significant other to think you're gearing up for something. Pictures, dust the pictures. Mount some new pictures if you need a little homeliness. Pillows, knickknacks, stuff like that. Here's a good one. Move furniture around. The idea here is you want to make your property feel as big as possible. If you've got a jam-packed living room, go one of those chairs and put it somewhere else. Houseplants are good. Keep them watered, obviously. And you can even dust them off. Things like fix leaky faucets and toilets. Super 99, if you're in Panama, you can do that. Jump over there. Go grab what were those things called? Like a quickie stopper to make sure the seal's good on your toilet. So fix leaky faucets and sinks. That's, way out of my league in terms of funny story. I went to the hardware store all excited when we moved into our home here about 10 years ago. And my wife laughs every time I get down my toolbox. I accidentally bought one of those makeup boxes. Yeah. So my toolbox has a mirror and a place for, like blush and whatever else. But hey, it's got a hammer. It's got 2 different kinds of pliers. And by God, it comes out every so often. So anyway, yeah, get out your toolbox or your makeup kit. And then you go outside and you do landscaping, patch up those brown spots. Go ahead and plant some stuff. Pull up some weeds. Spread rocks in the driveway. Consider pressure washing your exterior. So yeah, those are some ideas. Do yourself ideas on what you can be doing as a seller to set up your property. And for those that are just joining us, guys, I'm Kent Davis. Been down here 13 years. I run Panama Equity Real Estate. We've got offices. We got coverage almost all over the country. We're not in Bocas. We're not in Chiriquí. We're not in Veraguas. But if you need some help in those areas, I got a guy. Between our network, at the end of the day, between myself and my team, we know a lot of people in the country. So if you need help getting something done real estate-wise, we got your back. Again, just rehashing some news that we had from last week. This week, actually, Law 51 got revised. Digitalization in Panama is going to pave the way for electronic signatures. We're very close. In some cases, we can already do it. Talk to your agent, talk to me if you're in a specific phase of your closing process. Moodys came out with great news. Our ranking was stable. They're predicting Panama as having the highest per capita income in 2021 based on everything we're doing, including our reaction to COVID, our mobilizing, our preemptive, and proactive approach. Also going to be opening a free trade agreement with Korea that's very close. And finally, increasing internet bandwidth for private carriers here in Panama for the next 90 days. So hopefully your internet's sped up. Shoot, guys. Thoughts on where to focus attention for improvements. Big bang for the buck. Yeah, Chris, thank you. So generally it's kitchens and baths. That's what sort of moves the needle. Considering not everyone has access to hardware stores and specialists right now, I tried to share a list of things that you can do on your own. And at the end of the day, what you want to do is just make it as tight as possible. Make your property really pop, make it clean, and not give any reason for buyers to think, oh, well, there's another thing you got to do. Preemptive strike, right? I mean, that's what I teach my team, which is be proactive. Follow up, follow through, follow back. That's a whole nother webinar. But yeah, so anyway, bang for the buck is definitely going to be kitchens and baths. Painting goes a long way. And yeah, hopefully that's answered your question there. Any other questions, guys? I mean, 20 minutes of me going on. I love questions. Also, any comments you'd like to hear about what you're seeing? Great source of information is always Capital Financiero, which is our local Wall Street journal. They're doing a good job keeping people updated. Same thing with La Prensa and the President's 6 p.m. news updates. Yes, Alfredo, sales are for the most part on hold. The question was, are sales on hold due to potential buyers not being able to move or see apartments and houses? Yes, they are. We're still heavily promoting. We're doing things like webinars. I do this Facebook Live once a week now. We're very active in terms of getting people's interest and keeping people's interest. As far as showing, it's tricky. Now, what I have seen is pre-construction is still very active, well, as active as anything could be amidst what is still a climate of uncertainty. Pre-construction is interesting because if you've already been to Panama, you already know the developer, you're comfortable with the floor plans, and you know what, for example, your views are going to be like, etc. Pre-construction is a great way to say, you know what, I think Panama is going to recover. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years, Panama is a better place than it is today. And I can tell you what, between us on the call, pre-construction and developers now, many of whom do other things other than development, like they own restaurants or they own free trade zone businesses, are all going to be appreciative of some increased cash flow, especially if they run the full vertical, which is they do in-house construction, in-house marketing, in-house sales. All the money is going into the same bank account. And by the way, a lot of them have been paying their top construction guys. So now is a great time to be looking at pre-construction because developers are definitely going to be quite motivated and has some flexibility, whether that's giving you better terms like, hey, normally we ask for 30% down at this point because we're done in a year. You can say, you know what I've been doing is saying, you know what, how about 10% now, 10% in 6 months, and 80% in closing. And there's back and forth. Prices are definitely a lot more flexible than they have been. Chris, good deals on pre-construction right now? Absolutely. I've got a couple developers who have been quite active with us asking, hey, Kent, how's it going? Hey, Kent, what happened with that one buyer? Or what happened with those guys you were talking to before this all started? So they are motivated. And there's some great projects right now. And as soon as people are to work, I tell you what, these workers are be flying because everybody will be so grateful to be employed that they're going to be jamming. And I wouldn't be surprised, again, if we get started tomorrow, not likely, but if we do, we missed a month. Like these projects missed a month. What we always tell our folks in Panama right now, in Panama in general, for the last 13 years is if a developer tells you 18 months, plan on 24 or 20 months, depending on where the project is. So 1 month is a drop in the bucket here, guys. What kind of deals are possible? Definitely improved terms. Chris, thank you for asking. You asked what kind of deals might be possible. I would say improved terms, so less money down right now, and price per square meter reductions of 10, 20, maybe even 30%, depending on how far along the project is and how many other projects the developer has going on right now. Clint from Seattle, thank you for joining us. Let's see who else is around or has asked questions. Christy, cheers. Punta Barco, Señor Moises, Señor John. Nice to see you on here. Great developer doing really good things in Punta Barco. We appreciate you joining us as well. Nick checking in from Florida. Yeah, I mean, DGI discounts on property taxes. So I haven't seen any discounts, but I have seen in the DGI in the form of your property, your income tax, which was due last month. They've postponed that, I believe, by 3 months. I've also seen auto and health insurers come in and start giving discounts on premiums. So, it's a slippery slope, Van Sprang, when the government starts limiting their income in the form of taxes. That obviously creates some, what's the word? Cycles, some vicious cycles. We got less money to go around because we've asked for less money in income. But I'm going to be watching that. They've definitely, I'm sure that they have put a moratorium on all fines. And yeah, you're right. Our next trimestre is going to be coming up. March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, it's right now. So yeah, I'm 99% sure I'll reply to your comment publicly after I do some research and talk to my tax guy about what moratoriums the Department of General de Ingresos is doing, the DGI, on tax moratoriums regarding properties. I'll let you know on that. What else, guys? 30 minutes in. Always happy to answer questions. I'm sort of out of stuff to talk about, though. So I think we might just sign off, unless anybody has questions. As always, thank you. We're here working. I mean, I tell you what, my sales team's fired up. My administration team is fired up. We're doing a really interesting presentation next week for all the lawyers in our network. I wouldn't be surprised if I had 100 people in the room. We're going to be presenting some statistics that are something that folks have never seen before. So we're actually going to be opening our books in terms of how our property portfolio is performing and sharing some reports that we don't normally share with the public on how pre-construction is doing. So yeah, I mean, we're grinding over here, guys. Panama Equity, nobody has stopped working. All of our team are extremely active. And if you're a seller, that's what you want. If you're a buyer, that's what you want. Our goal is delivering value, adding as much as we can to the conversation, keeping it real, and trying to support you, our clients, and the Panama economy humming along. So yeah, stay strong, guys. Stay indoors. Commercial real estate update. Shoot, Mark. I mean, that's not a market we're in yet, although I am toying around with getting into some storage and warehouse as the market shifts. But we're so busy with residential real estate right now that I can't even purport to be an expert on commercial. Yeah, so if you want to explore that together, just you being an expert in Arizona, thank you for joining us as well. I don't know about commercial yet, other than what I read was that office vacancies are, golly, I think it was like close to 40%. And I don't see that improving anytime soon. So yeah, not ending on that note though. Anyway, guys, appreciate you all joining us. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week at 11, same time, same place. Any other questions, fire them away and I'll get back to you. Okay? Keep fighting a good fight.